This has to put into consideration all the aspects we know, to keep physical distance but not talk about social distance, to use digital media but not to replace completely analog experience on site with people. Hello, my name is Mischa Kuball. I'm right now in the center of Chemnitz, which is a city in former East Germany. I would like to thank the Korean Research Fellowship Program, Art After Pandemic, for giving the opportunity to speak out and to address issues and topics about the pandemic, post-pandemic situation. I would love to follow these recommended questionnaire as a perfect guidance to follow important issues and topics. Question number 1, the loss of physical links. I think we will face a new situation after social distancing has been requested to protect each other from the dramatic impact of the virus, which has the global impact. But we see that nationwide solutions are provided. So physical distance and social distance become an equivalent, but there aren't. So social distancing is more complex, maybe also implements a lot of dramatic and traumatic components. There is a lot of people in our society depending on social connection. From the childhood, as we know that the nonverbal contact zone for children in the phase of development is very essential to the future reception of social engagement and involvement, and also of science transmitting components. On the other hand, we need to have masks, but this mask covers half of our face, so it's also an effect on the nonverbal communication system. Even though that we think that, let's say, in adult communication, we are maybe in a situation we do not travel as much as we did before, but we need to keep contact. So we may use kind of digital formats to communicate to each other. But on the other hand, we know that to share the same space and to share the same air, as the Maori people would say from New Zealand and there, they would understand that if you're in the same room with one person or other people, ideas can transmit and also travel from one person to another as an idea, as a concept, as a proposal, whatsoever, in every different status quo. We will have to face that we are cutting down it just to the verbal communication. And also, it is transmitted in a 2D version of our appearance. So the body and its three-dimensional situation is now condensed to only a format of a screen, as I'm now appearing to you. You don't know what's going on behind the camera. You don't know much about left and right, which is now out of your sight. So this very little ingredients of communication are very useful and important in the very fragile moment of developing ideas and concepts. I think that the digital age will take profit from this situation, but only on a very superficial level. Maybe education, maybe communication is going to enforce the level of communication in terms of digital. But the output will be criticized and critical analyzed by the effects. So we have to see both levels, how they're going to develop. And I think it doesn't work for everyone. Speaking about children, speaking about adults, also we have to see the elder generation. So as the radius shrinks in terms of physical immobility, We are so much depending on travel from other people to come to our house, to meet us in our specific environment. And this now is so much reduced and shrinked to a minimum, even though maybe there is a screen in between. Even if it's transparent, it's plastic or glass. It does also tell we are in contact, but we have to protect each other from each other. This is always a subconscious message which has been transmitted without saying. I think this has a strong effect. Me as an artist practicing in art space, in public space, in specific public space, I can record already that behavior of people in public space has changed dramatically. We are looking at a situation where people are looking at each other with a certain kind of suspiciousness. Is this a carry-on of the corona COVID-19 SARS virus or not? How close could I get? So every ad hoc and spontaneous the impetus of the institution is dedicated and controlled by the circumstances. So a verbal or interactive activity at a spot, which I had been now blocking during the Human Praise project dedicated to the German epic and dramaturg Bertolt Brecht. He was writing these poems almost 100 years ago. It's about human praise. It's about the dignity we have and we carry on. And it's the question, what is our individual role in the society, and what is the role of the society towards the individual members of the society? So I think this specific question is under a certain context. It is stressed, it is traumatic, and it is in a very, very vague situation. What can art do in this specific moment? Art can highlight this tragic. Art can highlight this conflict zone as we prepare to give space to those kind of experiments where we can see, observe, and record how people behave in public space, how people interact from one person to another. What does it mean to the values of family and individual needs? If this cannot be shared in society, it will maybe increase and accelerate the components which are bad for the society, as we think that the individual rights to protect ourselves in terms of health, education, and social standard and economy. We may need to protect the walls, protect or build even higher walls to prevent from other influences. I think this I would consider a negative effect. Also, I do see a tendency when people look at things mediated through media. So the digital media transmits the information also from the artwork. People are looking at artworks through digital media. They're not traveling from one place to another to explore, to experience the circumstances of the whole situation. So the making of the objects, I would recommend strongly to read Boris Gross, where he's talking about the topology of art. So where is the place art has been established? Where is the place art has been made? I think I have a big question mark and a big doubt about that we can transmit this with 100% energy, with 100% impetus and impact just by digital participation. So I think we have to have a plan B, which turns out to be a plan A, to interact in public space, to interact between, artworks and people, to create a cultural codex. And this has to put into consideration all the aspects we know, to keep physical distance but not talk about social distance, to use digital media but not to replace completely analog experience on site with people. And we should have a concept how we keep and maintain what I would call the human condition. Conditio humanae is here on stake. We have to protect this. Doesn't matter if we have the mask or not. It is not giving our voice less impetus or less power. But we have to think about these structures. And that's why me as an artist, me as a professor of public art at the Cologne Art School, I'm fighting for this rights, fighting for space to explore and to experience that. And for this, I would say that this Korean Research Fellowship, right after the pandemic, initiated by you guys and your followers, is very important. It's a keystone to this debate, and I'm very glad to contribute. Thank you so much, and I send out my greetings to wherever the viewers and audience is located right now. Hope to see you in person soon.